So that may pop up a little notification on your screen somewhere. On the computer, you have to click something like OK or got it or something that clears that out of the way. And we are good to go. Alrighty, so we start with the sitting practice where you're scooted to the front edge of your chair or your couch or whatever you're sitting on. And this is your homework. This is a practice you can do regularly. I would suggest doing it before your day gets going, while you're sipping coffee or tea or whatever you do in the morning. It's a great time to sit at the front edge of a chair and practice what's called zhongjung, or central upright. Central upright, because if I sit back in a chair or couch and I slouch like this, it may feel comfortable, but you can see in my body I have a broken down central pillar, right? So then when I stand up and I bring this broken down central pillar along with me, it's going to impede my function. So scooting to this front edge, sitting up tall, up through the crown of your head, you've got this central point at the top of the head, down through the floor of the pelvis, down through the chair. And we create that upright structure, and then breathe in through the nose, long and smooth. And then breathe out through the mouth, long and smooth. And again, in through the nose, long and smooth. Carolyn, I'm noticing you're not muted. I'm gonna mute everybody again. So now you're muted, so don't unmute. So we're inhaling. Notice what happens when you pull breath in. The body expands, it opens, it stretches you open. And then when you exhale, the opposite happens. A softening, settling, melting, and releasing. And then we do it again. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Continue that. In through the nose, and out through the mouth. We have our upright structure. But what we also need to practice, which is very Taoist, very Tai Chi, Qigong philosophy, is what's called Chun Wan, or sinking heavily to the ground through the body. This idea of a soft, sunken, heavy quality that grounds us, and that's where our stability comes from. Not from holding the body together, but the opposite. By relaxing our body, there's a grounding quality that occurs. And just notice on these next couple of breaths how the breathing helps you with that. Because every time you inhale, you stretch some places that are stuck and tight, and then every time you exhale, there's this settling, softening, melting opportunity to ground you. And then you breathe again. Continuing that last couple of breaths before we start moving. As you let that sinking quality happen, known as Chun Wan, what is produced is what's called Qing Ling, or light, nimble, and agile. So if I have upright body, and then I relax everything that's extra through the body, then my body doesn't fall apart. In fact, it becomes more buoyant and pliable and functional. So keep those things happening, this through line through the body, and this soft, relaxed quality, and this loose quality. And now let's do our first movements. Slide your hands back, elbows back, shoulder blades back, opening through the chest area. Lift the chest and lift the chin and arch your back. And then the opposite. Slide your hands forward past your knees, hollow the chest, and drop your head. And this broadens and opens your back. Do it again. Slide the hands back, elbows back, shoulder blades back. Inhaling as you're arching. Look up. Take your head way back as far as it can go. And then the opposite, slide the hands forward past your knees, hollow your chest, drop your head, broaden, open the back. And again, inhaling, arching, arching, arching. And then exhaling, rounding, broadening the back. Let's do it 3 more times. And really dial this one in, because this could be your entire home practice during the week. And it would do you a lot of good just to have sitting at the edge of your chair, do some breathing, and then do this movement to help counteract that very common, insidious effect of gravity on the body, this rounding, sort of collapsing of the body forward. So especially this arching back, way back. But just as important is this rounding all the way into this position, because we're basically like flossing our teeth. We're cleaning out this residue and rigidity that accumulates. Now, from this arched position, just settle right to the middle and pause there for a moment. Remembering Chunwan, meaning let go and let sink everything that can sink through your body, but keep your good posture while you do it. And then feel that looseness through all your body parts. Now, rotation. Slide your left hand forward past your knee. Your right hand slides back, elbow back. Turn your shoulders, turn your head, and look as if to see behind you. Then turn back to the middle, and then we're going to switch to the other side. Your right hand slides past the knee, left hand and elbow pull back, turn to your left, and look behind you, or as if to look behind you. And then we turn back to the middle, doing the turning back middle, inhale. And Chris, remember to keep your head up. Keep your head up. Don't let it fall forward if you can help it. And then turning on the exhale. And then turning back to the middle on the inhale. And turning on the exhale. Turning middle, inhale. Turning to the side, exhale. Let's do this a few more times. Inhale, middle, and exhale, turn. One of the big problems with the human body is stagnation. When it just gets stuck in these shapes and positions, then we lose flow and we lose function. And so these movements are specifically designed to move us back in the direction of better alignment through soft, supple, pliable usage of the mechanisms. So we're not just trying to hold our body in a shape and say, okay, I've got good posture. No, we have to use the moving parts to produce this result of functional posture. Last one each way. Now again, just this up until now, right? This could be your whole practice. It took us all of 7-8 minutes, and you could do this on your own a couple times a day and just tune yourself back to this good posture. Doesn't take that much time, but it's really powerful. The third one in this set, which is very valuable, hang the arms loose along your side. A couple things happen here. Shift your weight into your right butt cheek, over to the right buttock, and then bow your spinal column a bit to the right. So this is lateral flexion. Notice how my head is tipping. And then we lift this left wrist right up in front. Notice I didn't swing the arm way out here. I floated it up close to the body, right above the chest. And then that allows you to tip just a little bit more. And then let's come back to middle. Neutral. And now shift your weight over to the left buttock. Bow the spine sideways, kind of like a tree in the wind. And then float your right wrist up around close to the chest here. And then lean just a little more. You might even feel your right foot be able to float off the floor a little. And then back to the middle. Again, inhale, middle. Exhale as you shift the weight, bow the spine, lift the wrist, and float the foot. Inhale to the middle. Exhale, shift the weight to the left buttock, bow the spinal column, right wrist floats up, left hand kind of reaching down. And then we're back to the middle. Inhale. Eventually, see if you can get this all to happen almost like an octopus, just fluid. And back to middle. So that's another piece of Taoist practice, is there's this structural movement that's happening underneath that can then move us towards fluidity. So it's specific. Change the weight, bow the spine, lift the wrist, float the foot. These events happen, but eventually we want them to happen almost like they're just one fluid gesture. Last one to your left. And then we're back to the middle. And importantly, shoulder blades. So I'm just going to show these specifically today. So they're on our back. They do a couple things. They slide up and down. Do that again. Up and down. What they also do is they squeeze together. They settle to neutral, and then they slide apart. And then they settle to neutral. Do that again. Squeeze them together. Let them relax. Now spread them apart from each other and keep them like this as you lift. Then keep them lifted as you squeeze them together. Slide them down. Neutral. Let's do that again. Spread them apart and lift. Then keep them lifted as you squeeze them back and slide them down. So we're loosening up what is stagnant and stuck in this region of our body. Very important. Again, forward, up, back. Squeeze them back. And then down. Forward, up, back, down. In the beginning, this is going to feel stuck. It's going to feel blocked. Also, your brain may be very unaccustomed to doing this movement. So don't be surprised if this is awkward in the beginning. But over time, it's one of the most natural movements. And I've just watched so many people who I've worked with go from the clumsy quality to this fluidity, and then it just is just natural. Now reverse, same movements in reverse order. Back, then up, then forward, then down, then under, back, up, over, down, under, back, up, down. Couple more. Back, up, forward, down, under, back, up, over, top, forward, down. Last one. And relax. And then last one with our upper body. Bend your elbows. Elbows flare out like chicken wings, but then try to get them to go higher. And just notice I can get mine pretty high. This is about the end of the mechanism. So you may not get to this point, but you want to push your edge just a bit. And then soften all the way down. Bring the elbows in front of you and touch them together. And then down to the side. We'll do that a couple more times. So they flare out and then they continue, and that's internal rotation here in this mechanism, right? So we're cleaning out the junk that accumulates in there, in this space. And then down, and then around in front, touch. Twice more. So a lot of this joint mobilization work is cleaning work. Just like you would clean your bathtub, or you clean your stove top, or you clean the parts of any kind of machine, right? We got to get the residue off. Now pull the elbows back, down, forward, hands over the shoulder, and then come up, up as high as you can. And then forward, down, and back. And again, just like a lot of these, at first you'll find a lot of limitation in these gestures, but then if you do it regularly, right, you might first be here, but then eventually you're here, then eventually you get to here, and this is as far as it goes. It doesn't go any further than that. And then forward, down, back, down, forward, up. Let's do two more. One more. And elbows out. Left hand high, right hand low, cross and wrap. And then open, cross, wrap, open, cross, wrap, open. One more, cross, wrap, and open. Now elbows down, arms down, loose, loose and light. Now again, Mary, if possible, be sitting at the front edge of your chair normally, right? Scooting to the front edge so you're not using the back of the chair to support your back, right? So keep that in mind. For all of the exercises we did just now, you would want to be at the front edge working those muscles of posture. Now, do scoot back against the back of your chair so that you feel supported there, and then let's bring right knee up, right foot pulls in, and then push the foot away, and then reload the leg and set the foot down. And we'll do that alternating. Left leg, pull the knee up, the foot in, push the leg away, reload it all the way up and in, and then put the foot down. Load and push, load and down. Other leg, load, push, load, down. One more each leg, load, push, load, down, and load, push, load, down. Now, right leg extend, foot and ankle work. Point foot, flex foot. Point, flex. Point and flex. Point, flex. Now, tilt the foot a little in, out, in, out. It's called inversion, eversion, inversion, eversion. Now circles, in, point, out, flex, in, point, out, flex. Rather than speed, think of thorough. Just like if you're flossing your teeth, you don't want to miss any plaque. Go ahead, reverse. So we're going around and around and making sure to really clean out the whole mechanism. And then switch feet. Put that foot down, other leg straight. Point, flex. Point, flex. Point, flex. And then tilt the foot a little in, out, inversion, eversion, in, evert, invert. And now circles, in, point, out, flex, in, point, out, flex. One direction and then switch, other direction. And down. Scoot forward now to the front edge of your chair. Now step your legs a little wider than hip distance, and we do some rotations from the hips before we get ready to stand up. So lift your toes up, turn on the heels, and look at this shape I'm making. My toes are turned in, my knees are in close, and my thighs are sort of pinching closed at this groin area. Lift your toes and turn on those heels. Now the opposite, this external rotation, opening, and then we close it again. Lift your toes, turn internal, and then lift your toes, turn external. Lift your toes, turn internal. Lift your toes, turn external. Internal, external. One more. Internal and neutral. Now from here, the balls of the feet stay on the ground. Heels come in, knees go out. Balls of the feet stay on the ground. Heels go out, knees fall in. Heels in, knees out. Heels out, knees in. Heels in, knees out. Heels out, knees in, and neutral. So the idea here is we just cleaned out a space where the legs and the hips meet each other. Now from that exact same space, forward fold. So now it's the pelvis and torso folding all the way forward, right? See how I've gone in half. And then sit vertical. And then from that same joint, tip backwards a little bit. Doesn't have to be much, but just try to get some movement in that direction. And then vertical. And then fold. And sit up. So now if you are finding that you don't have good movement folding in half here, it's pretty important that you work on this because this is the powerhouse joint in the body. The pelvis, leg, and belly and back. This region of the body is where all the magic happens. Fold, sit vertical, tip back. So we gotta have a function here. Now let's put it into practice. Hang your loose arms. You got your feet on the floor. Slide your feet back just maybe a ½ inch or an inch back. Now, notice your body weight goes down through this chair and gets you to the ground, but we're about to stand up, so that's not going to be the case anymore. So we fold in half, and then our first gesture is not up, it's forward. So you see how I went forward? Now I'm no longer in the chair, it's my legs and feet that get me to the ground, and now I'm pushing down through the ground and straightening up, 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 up. And a lot of times when people are standing up, there's a little bit of caution or more fear than ideally we'd have. And so a lot of times people stop here, right? And that might be the case for your body. And then often what will happen, people stop here, but then they lift their head like this, right? And so this is that quintessential sort of I'm getting older position, and then we have a cane or a walker, and then we get stuck, and then this just gets worse and worse and worse. So you gotta finish. You gotta bring the pelvis into this middle place and let the shoulders sit on top of the hips, and the head sits on top of the shoulders and the hips, and then everything gets down through these open legs to the ground. So let's just do that movement a couple of times. Notice what I do. My butt goes back, my feet stay where they are, and notice the shoulders and head are a little bit in front of where the feet and ankles are. And then bring the pelvis back underneath you. So this is that finishing piece. So we're not sitting down yet. We're just working on fold, and then bring the hips underneath. And try not to do this. This is what a lot of times people do. They push forward and pull back instead of hips back, right through here. And then hips brought underneath. Hips. So this is like number 1A gesture that we just got to be able to do. And it's just amazing how few people have this because there's all this caution, tension blocking this movement. Now, use this to sit down. So how do we do that? We go first, butt back, and then we fold at the hips, sinking the butt. This will bend your knees. You sink your butt, sink your butt. Here's your chair, right? And then you commit to the chair, safely on the chair. Now, standing up first is folding and coming forward, and then push through the earth and rise. So always think to yourself, when you have trouble standing up, it's not about more effort. It's about better technique. The technique of forward. Now my weight's down through the feet, so then the standing up portion is not so bad. And then remember to bring those hips underneath you. Don't let them stay behind you and give you bad posture. Finish. Get all the way there. And then hips back. Fold the body up and find the chair and commit. Let's do that one more time. Folding, coming forward, rising. Now, use this exact same set of mechanisms to not sit in your chair, but fold, 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 fold. Dangle your fingers down. Maybe you can touch your shins or your ankles or even the floor. And then push through the earth and rise, 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 rise. Nice and tall. So this washes the mechanism. It cleans the mechanisms of the body, sort of like a sponge getting squished and open, but also like a mechanism getting some lubricant on it and then using the mechanism, right? So be as relaxed as you can and then just fold and sink. Maybe you only sink here. Maybe you sink here. Maybe you sink lower and lower until you can fold the body and touch the floor, and then rise and come all the way up and make sure you finish bringing the hips underneath and into the middle. Make sure you finish. Get your butt underneath you there, all the way vertical. And then hips, sink, sink, sink. Don't sit in your chair if you can help it, but get as low as you can, and then just come right back up, nice and tall, all the way through the crown of the head. Last one. Sink and rise. Now, you have a chair to your left. Step and turn and face that chair. Face that chair. Now, if you look at your feet, you notice you have more foot in front of the ankle and less foot behind. So that's just how the body is built. There's more to do in front, less in back. So fingers on the chair for safety, tip forward into your toes, and then back to the middle of the feet, and then tip a little bit extra back to your heels so you feel your weight no longer in your toes, and then to the middle, and then forward into your toes where you feel your heels get empty. They might even disconnect from the floor, and then go back to the heels. See if you can get this to have a flow to it, where you flow, tip forward, tip back to the middle, and then flow, tip back to the heels, and middle and forward, and middle and back. This helps us in many ways, one of which is helps us find our middle pivot. So either when I'm in my heels or my toes, I'm still moving from this middle, down in the belly, low back, sort of central pivot area of the body. Now, tip into your toes, fingers on the chair, lift your heels as high as you can take them. Get as much onto your tippy toes as you can, and then lower down to your heels. Rock back to your heels. Make sure you're holding the chair for safety and pull the toes up off the ground. And then down to the ground. And then forward into your toes. Press down through the toes, lift the heels, lower down those heels, rock back to the heels, and then, again, holding the chair for safety, lift the toes. And again, forward and up, down, rock back, lift, forward and up, down, rock back, and lift. Now settle to the middle. Take the hands onto the back of the chair, sturdy. The heels of the hands there. Walk your feet back. And then we fold, remember at the same hip joint that we've been working on, fold in half and get this stretch to your legs, to your buttocks, to your low back, up through the shoulders. This is basically downward facing dog from yoga. And then lift the chest up and bring the hips forward. So we take the pressure out of the posture and then we go right back in from the hips. Fold. Holding the shape, letting the body, give the body time to melt, release, and open. And then let's do a few of these flowing. Inhale, chest up, hips come forward. Exhale, hips back, folding into the shape. Again, inhale, chest up, hips forward. Exhale, back. Two more. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. We got to have freedom of movement. Exhale. And inhale, chest up. Walk your feet forward. Keep coming until you stand back to vertical. Turn and face forward. And then you got your chair still on your, did I say left last time? I meant to say right. My left, your right. Anyway, on your right side. Now step a little bit back so the chair is in front of you and to your right. And then no hands on the chair if you can. Now you got your navel. Everyone take your index finger and just touch your belly button. And imagine a line going straight in through the belly button to the very middle of your belly. And think of that as your middle pivot point. Okay? Now hang that arm down. From that middle pivot point, change your body weight so that it goes over more into your right leg and a little less in your left leg. And then from that same middle pivot point, change the weight over to your left leg so it's a little bit less in your right leg. And change. So something that is obvious later, but in the beginning bears sort of thinking about, is that we're moving left and right, left leg, right leg, but there's less movement left and movement right than normally we think. So there's some movement to your left, but then most of what you need to do is actually relax the standing leg so that it takes the body weight. We don't want to be stiff in the standing leg. We want to be melted a little bit, like a bed spring. And that will free up this other foot. So from the same middle pivot, change the weight. Again, it's a little bit over to the right, but mostly it's about this downward trajectory of letting the leg be a conduit of the body weight to get to the ground so that this foot is free. And then from your middle pivot, the change of weight over to the left leg, let the weight go down to the earth and feel how that down on this side allows the freedom on this side. And then change. And this is just the most basic infrastructural understanding that allows for all different kinds of function. Just knowing that, okay, I have a middle, and the primary direction is down. And then the primary direction is down as you switch leg to leg. Now let's take that challenge up a bit. Put the weight down through your left leg, stay in your left leg, and lift your right heel. Get to the tip of the shoe on your right foot. As needed, use the chair for safety. Put the whole right heel down. Change. So the weight goes down through your right leg. As the left foot is empty, then you can lift the heel and get to this tippy toe of that foot. Put the heel down and change again. Weight down through the left. Lift the heel of the right foot, get to the tippy toe. Heel down. change. Those of you who've been doing it a while, you remember your next challenge on this one is to try to, at the same time as your weight's going down, you're lifting this foot. And then as the weight's going down, you're lifting the other foot. So you're getting good at soft and allowing this change of weight to happen almost instantaneously. At first it takes time, we're sort of going over and working on getting it down, but eventually you let go of everything and you go, oh, it's down, 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 down. So add challenge as you see fit. Let's go to the next challenge of it. Put the weight through your left foot, get to the tippy toe of the right foot, hand on the chair, and try to disconnect your right foot from the floor. Put the whole foot down, change the body weight to the right leg, get to the tippy toe, and disconnect from the floor. Put the whole foot down, change again. Weight down through the left leg, tippy toe of the right foot, disconnect, reconnect, change. This could also happen instantaneously for those of you working on it where the weight goes down and you lift the foot, weight goes down, you lift the foot. But don't do that prematurely. Do that when you've gotten good at this previous variation of change, tippy toe, disconnect, reconnect, change. So if we jump to the flowing version too soon, clumsiness happens, right? Next challenge, hand on the chair for sure. Get to the tippy toe and lift, 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 lift the knee as high up as it can go. And then soften that leg down, 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 down to the earth. Change legs. Weight goes down through the left leg. Tippy toe and disconnect and bring the knee up, 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 up. And then all the way down without any body weight in it. Touch the ground. Then from your middle pivot, change the weight. Tippy toe, lift, down, from the middle, change. Weight down. It's the down that keeps me safe. The moment I start yanking up, I've like pulled the plug out of the ground. But if I relax and I stay down, then this becomes as easy as moving an arm, right? So make sure you get the down to the earth correct. Stay down underneath you, and then here you go. This can lift and lower. And then you change one more time, lift and lower, and one more time, other leg. Now, make sure you've stepped a little bit back so the chair's in front and to the right. Put all the weight in your left leg and put your right heel in front like so. Now, the smaller the better in this stance in the beginning. Now, change the weight into your front leg. You've moved forward by going down through the right leg. Now, same thing here. Go down through the back leg. Your body will naturally just move backwards. And your foot is in front. Go down through that front leg. The body naturally moves forward. And then go down through your back leg. Body naturally moves backwards. So this is the basic of walking. It's change the weight down to the earth. This foot is free. Change the weight down to the earth. This foot is free. From the middle pivot. Level 2 challenge, hand on chair. This empty front leg, lift, lower, change the weight down through the front leg. And then now your back leg, bend the knee, disconnect the foot from the floor. Put the toe down, and then change. The weight goes down. The weight staying down allows this lift, lower, shift. The weight staying down allows this lift and lower, change. The softness or easy, relaxed quality is the most difficult part of the practice, especially when doing walking challenges, because falling is always a fear when we're trying to walk, when we're trying to do things. So especially with Parkinson's and just aging, as we age, we become a little less nimble, right? Or a lot less nimble. So this relaxation requires a lot of courage to use softness to face that problem of I don't feel stable, I don't feel nimble. But that's the trick with Tai Chi. Hand on chair. Now, full lift, down, shift. Now this back leg, bring the knee forward and up, reach the toe back, shift. The weight going down and staying down as I lift and lower, and then shift. And then this leg going forward and up and back, all while the weight stays underneath in this leg. Then I change. One more. Lift, lower, shift, and lift, back, shift. Same exercises on the other side. So step over to your right side chair. I'm sorry, left side chair. Put your weight in your outside leg or right leg. Put your left foot in front, heel touching. And then we just shift, shift. This one is great, sort of easy, but it allows you to practice no hands. Chris, remember to bring your hips underneath you and your head above you, right? If you're like this, the whole thing is going to be impeded. So do your best to get the butt underneath and the head up and back. And we just shift, weight goes down, shift, weight goes down. Shift, weight goes down. And then we got level 2 here. Hand on chair as you lift, lower, shift. And now your back foot is empty, like a little flamingo. Bend the knee, touch the toe, shift. All from the middle pivot. Lift, lower, weight goes down, stays down as I lift, lower, weight down, lift, lower, down. Weight staying down. And it's something we have to return to over and over again because it's just so common that we use tension and pulling, but we got to keep it down and loose. Now, level 3, hand on chair so that you can confidently lift, heel down, and then shift. And then your back leg, you bring that knee forward and up, reach it back, and shift. The weight staying down gives you the confidence to lift, lower. Weight going down and staying down allows you to do this athletic movement here, back, shift. Weight staying down as you lift, lower, shift. And switch sides again back to your first side. Step. Okay, so this is my left hand, but I say right because I'm your mirror. So the chair on your right with your right hand touching it. Put your body weight in your left leg, your outside leg, and put your right foot in front. Now, we go shift, step, shift. So now I've moved forward a whole 2 steps, and then we go back by going down through the back leg, step this foot back, and then go down through that leg. Now I've moved backwards a foot in space or so. Now I'm going down through the front leg, step down through the front leg, moved forward, forward, and then down through the back leg, step behind, down through the back leg, move backward, backward again. So this is just casual, middle pivot, middle pivot. So they call it separate, empty, and full in Tai Chi practice, meaning I don't have 2 stiff legs that I'm trying to clomp around on. I have one leg that becomes like a mountain, full. The other leg is empty like a cloud, so it can step. But then I change that. Now this becomes the mountain, and this becomes the cloud. And then change again. mountain and cloud. The cloud foot can step, mountain and cloud, cloud foot can step. And I do so without leaning and leaning, because then that throws everything off. So this loose quality from the middle pivot, I can go down to the earth, this foot can step, and then down to the earth without losing my equilibrium. Down, step, down. Let's take it a notch further. Use the chair so that you can lift, lower, shift. Now this back foot, step over something. Put it in front, shift the weight, and now this back foot, little flamingo. Now shift into your back leg. The weight stays down underneath you, hand on chair for safety, lift, tuck, reach, and then shift. The weight stays down underneath, lift, lower, down, step over, and then down, flamingo, down, this front leg up, tuck, reach, down, lift, lower, down, step over something, down, flamingo. Yeah, so all these exercises, those of you that have been working on for a while, keep that word schwen in mind, that you take it from sort of the clunky version to this fluid wheeling version. Let's go level 3, hand on chair, lift, lower, shift. Now it's exaggerated. Bend the knee, bring the heel to the butt. Bring the knee up as high as you can. Extend the leg and float it down. And then shift. Now this other leg, bring it up, back. Weight goes down. Now once I've really established the ground, then I can safely explore. Then I got to change and make sure I'm all the way to the ground so that this leg can lift, lower. And I got to make sure to get that primary connection down before I even try to do any of this fancy movement. And then I got to make sure I get the grounding. So the primary thing, down. Get it right, and then you've earned the right to go through other movements. So always the down. Switch sides. Put the weight in your outside or right leg, left foot in front, level 1. Casual, just shift, step, shift. Shift, step, shift. Shift, step, shift. Shift, step, shift. Level 2, hand on chair. So you can lift, lower, shift, and then this empty cloud foot, step it over something. Place it down without any weight, then shift. Back leg flamingo, down, and then shift. Front leg goes up, tuck, reach, shift. The weight being down gives you the safety and earns you the right to lift. The weight going down gives you that, it's like you earn the right to be able to safely walk by getting this achievement of, oh, the weight down. And then again, the weight down. And the weight down. 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 Level 3, lift, lower, shift. Then heel, knee, foot, down, shift. 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 Lift, lower, shift. Step over, shift. Again, all from our middle pivot. so that no matter what's happening in the body outside, right? Because if you think of classic Tai Chi, there's all of these changes that occur, but really it's this middle pivot that gives us the equilibrium we're looking for. And back. Let's move all the way to the left side of your space. Then turn. And so notice on the screen, I've moved myself all the way here so that I now have a big runway in this direction. But I also got my chairs on the left for the safety that they provide. They're like a little emergency crutch. So now we're going to walk 4, 5, 6 steps that way. So empty your left foot by putting all the weight in your right leg. So you got mountain, cloud. Now let's go changing. Mountain, step. And then change. Step. Change. Step. Change. Step. Change. Step. Change. Now safely backwards. Change. Step. Change. Important thing to notice here is that when I step my foot, my body does not move backwards in space. It's only this foot that goes. But then when I change the weight to that leg, that's when the body travels backwards in space. The step happens without traveling through space. The traveling happens when I change the weight to that new leg. The step happens without traveling. The shift is where I travel. Step, then shift. Same thing when going forward. It's the body's moving forward when I'm changing the weight down through the leg. But when I step, I don't want to clumsily fall into it. I want to step and then down through, and the body travels forward. Step again, and then down through. And so at first it's sort of clunky, but eventually it flows, and we just kind of cruise forward and backward like a car, right? Where the car wheels are doing this with the ground, but the car is moving straight. So that's kind of what, it's essentially what our feet should be doing when we walk, is they're like wheels, wheel, wheel. And now add the challenge of step over something. Change. Step over something. Change. Step over something. Change. Step over. Change. Step over. Be very careful going backwards. Up, tuck, reach, change. Make sure you got 100% in one. You lift, tuck, reach, change. Especially in the beginning, imagine you're only stepping over something very low to the ground, like a pencil. You're just trying to go up over the pencil and then down. Foot off the ground, over the pencil. Right? And then the last thing we'll do today, normally we go through side stepping and rotation stepping and things like that. But today we really focus on this forward and backward direction of movement. So let's add to it this one challenge level up, I like to call ballistic movement. So it's got, instead of this relaxing piece, which is very useful to us, right? Then we have movement that's more athletic, kind of like you see in boxing, where there's this advance and retreat movement, right? And this is valuable for many different reasons to have in our arsenal. So the chair to your right, move a little bit back from it so it's out in front of you, but you can still reach it. Now put all your weight in your left leg, right foot in front. Now instead of what we did before where we shifted and shifted, we sink into this back leg like a spring, we load it up and then push off of it and advance. So you take a sort of almost like a little hop forward, and then this back foot is empty, push off and retreat. Now, really importantly, the primary direction is still down. So I'm advancing, but the weight goes down. And then I'm retreating, but I don't go back, I'm going down. Advance, the weight goes down. Sort of like fencing or boxing or any different, or basketball or other sports, right? This retreat, advance. Retreat and advance. So this trains us to really be forced to find that down to the earth thing, because there's like, whoa, I'm almost throwing myself off. And also it trains pop. It trains spring-loadedness into our legs again. Because in order to do this right, we cannot have locked legs. We have to sink into the power, the springy power of the leg to push, to have that push. And again, forward, back, advance, retreat, advance, and retreat. Switch sides. Side step, over near this side, put all the weight in your outside leg. This inside leg, or should be your left foot, is empty. And then again, instead of just shift and shift, which is very valuable, it's how we walk around the house, but we also want to be able to do this advance, retreat. So it trains the pop back into our legs. Advance, retreat, advance, retreat, advance, retreat. Couple more. Middle pivot, down, 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 down. Last one, down and down. Step to the middle of your space between your chairs there. And we close with this movement called Sink Chi Wash Organs. Open, lift. Then tip into your toes just a little bit and sweep the hands around, right around mouth level. Rock back a little bit, bring the hands in, down to the belly, and then remember our squat. We stick the butt back and sink and release the arms loose. Push through the ground and stand back to the middle. So this movement does two things. It resets the natural flow in the body, and it also gets rid of any places that we're holding. That's the idea of it, at least. We'll do two more. So you rock a little back, open and lift. Rock a little forward as you sweep around in front. Rock a little bit back, bringing the hands in the mouth. Rock to the middle of your feet, hands settle to the middle. And then this squat where you stick your booty back, sink the booty, and release the arms completely. It's called Sink Chi Wash Organs. Last one, back, open, lift. Rock forward, sweep around, close. Rock back, bringing both in and then settle to the middle. And then final through line. And standing. And then we close the whole practice doing what's called shogun. Remember the importance of this middle. So we go wing, turn the palms up, and then fold over top. Settle everything right down to the belly button level, and then turn your palms in. Let's do that twice more to finish. Cross the hands. We go wing, roll, fold, and then settle down to the belly. Turn the palms in, relax shoulders and elbows. Last time. It's called shogun, or closing gesture. Wing, roll, fold. Settle. Palms turn slightly in, And then the last thing is sealing. You got your belly button. You take the center palm and place it over top, and then this hand over top of that hand. And it's sort of like putting a cork in the barrel and finishing our practice, storing all of our life force back into its nest, its home, its center. And then thank you so much, everybody. Well done. If there are any questions about what we did today, feel free. If there's any comments or any, as Gail coined the phrase, any Tai Chi moments where either the Tai Chi worked or you forgot to do it, Byron in.
I do the Tai Chi stretches, the upper body thing every day, because if I don't, I'm all creaked up in the shoulder neck area. And once I do it, I'm good to go for the day.
I know.
I don't know if it's psychological or physical or maybe both, but I don't care. It
Well,
works.
it's definitely both, right?
Mhm.
And again, it's I use the analogy of the dental analogy of our teeth. Just
Right.
like every single day, every single week, we are accumulating plaque on our teeth. That's not up for discussion.
Right.
So if you don't floss your teeth, and then your teeth get accumulated plaque, and then you get problems, right? And same thing with your shoulders and your neck and your chest. The body is built to have this flow, but every night we go to sleep, the body gets knitted back together by the healing processes. And so then we wake up and we go, oh, I'm kind of stiff. That stiffness is actually, in this case, the healing of the body, knitting back together, putting everything together. And then what we got to do is wake up and loosen and flow the neck and the shoulders and the wrists and hands and breathe and do all that stuff. But like you said, it's like the more you do it regularly, the quicker you get to a nice feeling, right?
Yeah. It also passes the time when you're waiting for the water to boil.
I
When
know.
you when you stretch your back, and stretch your front.
And also, let's say you're listening to the news or you're doing something that you like to do, listening to a podcast or something, but you're just sedentary. What's good about this stuff is you can listen to information while also breathing
Right.
and moving. So you can mix it into a lot of different times, or driving, right? You can't really necessarily do all this stuff if you're the driver, but you can breathe. So keep in mind the breathing is always a thing where holding and then, so there's always something we can be doing to improve the situation, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. All righty. Thanks, everybody. Mary, not sure if you had any questions or anything. You're muted, so I couldn't hear you if you did. But feel free to email me if you have anything, and hope you guys have a great week. See you on Friday
You
at
too.
11 for the upper body Tai Chi work.
Yes. Bye-bye.
Looking forward to it. Take care.